delete it. You know why? Because this is Layno Pod. The Layno Prod podcast.
Why are you yelling, man? Why are you yelling? We're like the only ones in the room, bro.
It's spring break. It's a party. No more essays. You're done with school, so it's all good.
I've been done.
Okay, don't brag about it. I'm about to be a senior. Bittersweet.
Fair.
Okay, let's calm down. Let's get an Arizona tea. Mango, because Ivan likes mango. Now, tell him real quick why I got this drink. The real story.
Bro, I was like asking for... You asked me like my favorite drink or something. I was like, give me some mango juice or something. Or some coconut juice.
Coconut juice, okay.
And my brother James couldn't afford the coconut juice.
Hey, it's sad, but it's true, man.
I'm surprised it was $3. I think it should have been $1.
Coconut juice is $3 at CVS and at this liquor store on Figueroa. That's way too much. I couldn't.
You need to go to an Asian store or something.
We need to go to Island Pacific in the Valley or some Filipino store, some 99 Ranch type place that sells dollar coconut juice. But instead, we got 99-cent Arizona Mucho Mango, which is an alright flavor. It's not the best, but it's representative, right? Representative of our skin.
What do you mean skin? I'm not yellow.
Are we brown or yellow?
We're brown.
Ooh, we're brown.
Yeah.
Ooh. Should we get into that or should we talk about art first?
We'll talk about art. We'll talk about art first. Are we trying to open this? We good?
Yes. Right. It's a toast.
There it is.
A toast.
Mucho
mango for 99 cents.
Yo, dude, I've been I'm thirsty. Yeah, this isn't that good. This isn't that great.
It's 100% natural.
Is it? No, it doesn't taste like it.
They gotta be lying. Citric acid. Okay, I don't know how that's natural. Correct me if I'm wrong. You chem majors or I don't know. High fructose.
Yeah, that's
100% natural.
They added sugar to this. All right, whatever.
Damn. Okay, where were we?
All right, what are we talking about?
We're talking about art.
Or can I call Layno? I don't know.
James Layno. That's what it derives.
I've known you as James more than.
That's how you know you're a real one.
Than Layno Prod.
Quick story. Everyone in college calls me Layno, with the exception of Johnny, my roommate, my parents, and my family back home, and you, like my friends back home in the Valley.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know where that started.
I mean, your logo says your name. It says Layno, so I'm assuming that's why people call you Layno.
I think because I started with Layno Prod, and with Layno Prod, everybody's like, Layno's just easier, and they're just like, oh, it's a cool last name. One of my friends was telling me, oh, why don't you just change your name to Layno instead of Layno Prod? And I'm like, no, first of all, this is gonna look like one of them EDM artists. Just picture it, all caps, Layno. The A is a V. The O is one of those like O with the slash, you know what I'm talking about? And nah, I just did Layno because it's like easier in a branding perspective, and it's like short for Layno Prod. I'm not trying to put or glorify like my last name. It's just I am who I am, you know what I mean? So
all right.
Speaking of branding,
what's up?
What is, I see you now, you're putting your logos on your artwork. First of all, I didn't even introduce you. Who are you?
You just said I didn't even introduce you, so you're making me introduce myself?
Yes, tell them your name.
All right, what's up, y'all? I'm Ivan Blanco. I'm a designer, illustrator.
Yeah.
Good friend of James. So, yeah.
James? No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, Ivan is the guy. He's the reason why my first EP sounded good. He provided the visuals. And you guys will be surprised how important that is to music now. I wanted to speak on the struggles of being an artist, and I guess let's start with branding, because we're talking about the logo. I was going to talk about your little watermark that you've been placing on your Instagram artwork. You know, you've been putting your little crown, and just talk about branding, like what's hard about it, what's exciting about it, what are the challenges, your experiences about it.
Okay. Do you want me to explain what the logo means?
Yeah, I'll go into it, and you know, we'll link them later to your work so they can see it. Yeah.
So it's a crown with like a circle on like one of the points at it, but I don't know if you know this, but it's basically my name written all together. So it's like IVAN. It kind of creates the shape of a crown. Okay. And the idea is like the crown is like the idea of being God's beloved and all that stuff,
There it is.
all that stuff. And the crown also symbolizes like the mountains, and that was like the last time I had like this crazy experience with God, and like, sort of like understood more of who I am.
Damn, that's Moses right there.
I don't know, not
Going
Moses.
up the mountains.
No, man, going up the mountains in the Philippines, getting tattoos. So it's that stuff. So I think that just represents a lot of like these different things.
Yeah.
Into like one symbol that I enjoy. Yeah, and I think I've been just putting it everywhere. It's not really branding in my mind per se. It's just sort of like just something fun. I like just putting these logos or like they're sort of like Easter eggs in the image,
Yeah.
It's not just like a logo that's just placed
on the
bottom right or
Yeah.
something. I try to put it like hidden, like maybe the character is like wearing a crown or something, or like hidden in their clothing or something.
Right.
But yeah, there are some that I put in the bottom right corner too.
That's
but
cool.
Whatever.
It's like, where's Waldo? But
Yeah,
it's
just
like,
find it. It's super fun.
That's dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
I catch myself just loving that part of just looking at your artwork. I'm like, okay, how is Ivan going to incorporate his logo in this? And they're really nicely placed.
Yeah.
I like what you said, or what were you saying?
I've been lazy, but I've been putting in the bottom right corner, to be honest.
I haven't noticed.
Just for right now.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Parental advisory, like that. On the bottom left. It's a rap track. Nah. Anyways, I was gonna say I like what you said about how you don't really see it as branding. You just see it as like something fun that you like to do. And I remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about how to like learn how to have fun again.
Yeah.
Because doing this social media stuff and just promoting our stuff as an artist can be very taxing, and it could be very like. It could be like I was telling Ivan this like a few weeks ago how it's kind of like little quick dopamine spikes, whenever you get likes on Instagram, and it's like, man, did I make music to get likes on Instagram, or did I make music because when I first learned how to do it, it was like a crazy experience and it was very fun, just the ability to create. So I want to speak more on that because that's something that I was inspired to start doing again because of our conversation a few weeks ago. As you guys know, like I've been working on merch, I've been working on music videos, podcasts, photos, and working on singles just spaced out to give like higher quality singles each time instead of like my previous strategy of just, putting out a bunch of beats, putting out a bunch of raps on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Now everything is like, I feel like now it's a little too calculated now. And then I was telling you how, man, like I see my biggest strength as like a record producer. How come I'm not making beats every day or every week? And like after our conversation, went home, made a beat, 2 hours, 12 a.m. and woke up, worked on it for an hour and then another 2 hours, and I was like, done. And I sent it to you and I was like, wow, I didn't know I was gonna get that reaction.
Yo, I really like that beat.
Yeah.
You should show the people that beat, dude.
Am I gonna play it right now? I'll play a little bit. I'll put on my phone right now. But you were saying how it kind of reminds you of like Ultralight Beam, New Kanye.
Because it's got like...
choirs.
Yeah, choirs, some gospel in it.
Yeah,
I'm just a fan of that, so...
I was inspired by this gospel track. I won't say the sample. You guys can figure that out. But it's a really favorite singer of mine. I'll just play it real quick. Let's see if they can hear that. I'll put it right here.
Hopefully they can hear this. It's dope.
It's like, I'm mighty grateful. Like, it's relatable too, Hey.
Hey. Get those shoulders moving.
Yeah. Okay. Me and I were saying, all we look for in hip-hop tracks now is if it makes our shoulders move, Like, that's the new dance. Like, there's a tempo.
You just gotta look at someone and move your shoulders.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I won't play anymore. Just quick teaser for you guys.
Yeah. And, like, you made that, like, when you started just having fun with it, right?
Yeah, like, I was just like, man, that was a great conversation. I might lose sleep. I have school and work the next day, but, hey, I miss this feeling of just getting down on my MIDI keyboard, on my machine drum pad. Finding something I'm inspired by, and boom, just no double thinking, no overthinking, no calculations. When am I gonna put this out? Like, people gonna like it? I'm just like, I like this. I'm inspired. Have fun with it. and damn, like I made that in a day, like in 5 hours, and I was like, wow, this is why I wanted to make music, because it's fun, right? And I guess tell people what is your like perspective on that, your experience on that, and your struggles with seeing if, okay, is this fun, but also is this gonna get the attention that I kind of want with the short dopamine spot? You know what I'm saying, right? Like, sure. what's the issue with that?
And I think as an artist, it's like it's difficult. I think social media is an awesome place to just be able to promote your stuff and like share whatever you're working on, and like being able to talk about these things. It's a great platform, but also it could be super dangerous, and like if you get caught up in that, like you said, dopamine spikes, like people like just creating for the sake of getting these likes, and like once you start doing that, sure, you get more followers, you get more likes and all these things, but you start losing that passion, I think, a little bit. I know for me, when I started doing these things, or like creating art just for fun, I started like getting more likes and followers, and it's like, oh, this is super cool. So it was like, let me create more stuff. And it turned into I just need to make something for today just so I could get some likes. So I get a little bit of validation or something. But then when you're like thinking about that, you like, when you don't get as many likes, or like you lose a follower or something, it starts to like, you feel down on it. It's like, it just sucks. I've been reading this book. I'm not going to curse because it has a curse word in it. It's The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, basically, right? And one of the things that stood out to me the most was he talks about your value system, and like what your values are in really affects you a lot. For example, if your value is something that is not controllable by you, is dependent on other people, and just isn't like beneficial for you or for anyone, it's not a good value. But if it's something that you can sort of control, and something that isn't dependent solely on other people, or things that you can't control, and it's beneficial for you and for other people, it's a good value. For example, let's say with like social media and Instagram, right, or whatever. If your values solely depend, or if your value is to get more likes or get more followers, it's not a bad thing, but it's something you can't really control. It's something that's like totally dependent on other people. And so you start feeling good only when people like notice your stuff, or when people start following you, but you start feeling crappy when you don't get as many likes, or you don't get as many followers, and you just feel bad about yourself, But let's say your value is simply on being able to create something, or to be able to express yourself, or to be able to be creative. That's completely not dependent on other people. And you're simply being yourself and just creating something, and it's not dependent on how many people see it, dependent on how many people like it. It's simply, I've produced something that I appreciate and like, and I feel good about that. So if your values are totally all about these things that are completely dependent on people, it makes you, as an artist, I feel like you can't really fully be yourself. You're always creating something for the other person, and not really yourself. And I know I struggle with that a lot. Like concerned about like, I don't have that many followers, because I really don't in the like grand scheme of it, or like getting as many likes. In the grand scheme, I don't get that many. But I've been turning it around where it's like, I just want to create things because these are the stories I want to tell. These are things I want to create. These are things that I want to learn to create. And it's been so much better for me as an artist to be able to just create that and not worry about all these other things.
It's more freeing, right? And it was cool how today for one of our classes here at SC, Popular Music Forum, we have like a guest from the music industry. And we had this songwriter named Claudia Brandt. And she was talking about how, as a songwriter, she would always like make stuff for other people, and didn't have as much freedom because she would work with like all these different genres, and a lot of people's goals were like, okay, this has to be a hit, this has to make top 10 Billboard. And now, like after 20, 30 years, she's finally working on her own like album, and she's like, my goal is not to make this commercial. My goal is just like, I'm not even trying she was like, I'm not even trying to be an artist. I'm just a songwriter that wants to make a record for fun. And she played one of the tracks, and I was like, damn, this sounds good. And not good in that, oh, it'll work on a radio. It's not radio friendly. Like, there's no chorus within 10 to 30 seconds, right? But she was mentioning, like, yeah, I was so used to working on stuff that's like 3.5 minutes. And I was like, what if I don't want to do a song at 3:30 or 3:15? Like, what if I want to do like a 5-minute song? And she played us one of her 5-minute songs, and it was like, dang, like, even if this isn't radio friendly, like, you could tell that there was a lot of freedom in it. She was having fun, and it still sounds good. Like, I feel that having that freedom is still available, is still able to make something sound good or look good, or and we can still be proud of our work to the point where maybe people actually think it's cool, even though it's not gonna be like that all the time. Because like, the thing with like having that much freedom is like, okay, yeah, I know some people are gonna talk shit about this, like people are gonna really bag on it, but I think it's good that I guess me and you are starting to realize the inner like people pleasing part of us, and letting go of that is like gives us a lot of freedom to do stuff that we didn't think we were able to make. Like me making the beat, you making stuff that you just want to do for fun. Like that's like something that's like, I guess it's hard for us to see that in big artists, because we think that we think like, oh, because they're a big artist, what they're gonna make, it has to please everybody. That's the only way it's gonna be successful. But I think a good example is Kendrick Lamar, obviously. Not that. What I wanted to say was that I was watching one of his interviews on Sway in the Morning, and he ranks his like. Sway asks him, okay, how do you rank your 4 albums in order from greatest to least, right? And he had a similar ranking to mine. He said, Damn, Good Kid, Mad City, Pimp a Butterfly, Section 80. And I was like, okay, yeah, I also put Damn at the top. I wonder why. And he was saying how it has like the bangers and the sounds to get people hyped, like Good Kid, Mad City. It has like the lyrical content and the substance and social awareness of To Pimp a Butterfly, but it has the rawness of Section 80. Yeah. And when I hear Section 80, Kendrick Lamar's debut LP, I was like, you could tell that the people that were making this, including him, weren't like, okay, well, is this gonna be a hit? Like, it was just, there was like these little skits in there. I mean, he always does skits, but it was just like, you could tell because of the varying styles, that it was so raw and it was just him, and like not everybody's gonna like it, which I see why, not too many people like it, but he includes that in Damn, and I guess that's some controversy with Damn, that people are saying, this doesn't sound cohesive, it doesn't sound like a full-on album. I'm like, no, I think it connects. I think that it's crazy how Kendrick has this talent of making things connect when they're all different. And it still had the rawness of like, and the freedom of, I'm just going to make what I want. I'm just going to make what I'm feeling. Unlike Drake, but Drake is good. No diss to Drake. God's Plan is a banger. Like,
I'm a fan.
But Drake knows his goal. Like Drake's goal, it's crazy. I think for the last 7 or 8 years, he's always been hitting like top 10. And that's pretty impressive for like an artist, a hip hop artist. And I got to respect him for that. But I guess for me, I kind of don't want to do that. I don't want to just ride the wave, you know? Like, okay, we could say the wave is trap right now. And I did get into trap very recently. And I do like it, but I can't just be like the next Lil Blank.
Lil James.
Lil James, Lil Layno.
Lil Layno.
Like, I don't know. Tell me about that one artist you were showing me, the guy that yells a lot on the mic.
Oh, no, I'm not even gonna mention it.
Okay, we don't have to mention that. But how many Lils with dyed hair, a bunch of facial tattoos are there now? And that's not the first time we've seen people hop on trends. But I don't know. I always feel like with those artists, I don't know if they're gonna last long. Like, as an artist, I don't know. Is your goal longevity? Because my goal is longevity. It's like when I have kids, and if I'm a grandparent, if I'm physically able, I still want to create. So, what is your thoughts on like longevity and versus I'm just here for like the quick buck or like the quick recognition?
Yeah, I think the problem with that is if you just do it for quick recognition, it's like once you reach it. Like, what now?
Right, what now, yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you're, like, not you're like satisfied for like, I don't know, like a week, and then after that it's like, oh, I want more.
Yeah.
Like, I want more recognition in that.
Yeah.
You know, it never lasts. You know.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, like for longevity or just simply just being able to create, I think that's just a powerful thing.
Yeah.
It's like being able to express yourself and not worry about what people think, and just create things that you enjoy. I don't know, like I feel like that's an ultimate goal. And I think the ultimate goal is like to be able to do that and make money out of it.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, as an artist, you can't, you know, it's important to just be able to sustain yourself, you know. But I think from the very beginning, like artists at the start, they were simply creating things that they enjoyed or figuring out ways to express themselves. And then people just saw that it was, oh, that's so cool or that's so interesting, and that's how they blew up. You know, I feel like even with like all these new rappers,
Right.
it's sort of like, I don't know, like a lot of them, they're terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like they were just simply expressing themselves in how they know it and the talent that they have.
Yeah.
And then people just caught on and thought it was cool.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of artists are like that.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, it's just like, I just want to make something.
Yeah.
And as I'm making it, I'm going to try to make it as true to myself as possible.
Right.
And then hopefully people will catch on and like it.
Yeah.
You know? Because if like ultimately your goal is just to get likes or more followers or like to make a ton of money,
Yeah.
it's like there's a cap to it. You know, it's sort of like, oh, I've reached this. Now what? I want more. You know, and you're always like striving and climbing.
Right.
But when your goal is to simply create and be an artist and be creative, it's sort of like you're already achieving those goals all the time just by making something.
Right.
And you're like, you know, just satisfied with that.
Right.
I feel anyway. But it's hard because society always tells us like puts people on a pedestal who are achieving all these things, who are creating these things, who are making a ton of money. And it's like, we want that too, you know?
Right.
So it's hard to just be like, to get away from that.
Right.
You know?
Dang, I want to touch on two things that you said. Yeah. The whole idea of like wanting more and how if you just do it for like the quick buck or the quick recognition, you're right, like after 2 weeks, it's like, I feel like that's what some artists say that I've heard in interviews, like when they go like #1 on iTunes, or if they like sell out a stadium, or they finally get a feature or a placement with a big artist, right?
Yeah.
They're like, woo, I'm this guy now. And then it's like, oh, is that it? Like, what else is there? Yeah. And I think a good example of somebody that I'm very influenced by and highly respect is Kanye West. How you could tell through his interviews that he's not like the happiest guy, that he's probably going through depression and anxiety. And as much as how much of a genius he is in his art, because there's always these things that fall short of his expectations, right? You could tell just by the things that he says in interviews that he wants more. And for us, as a consumer or a fan, we can be like, oh, cool, like, what's Kanye gonna do next? Like, this is gonna get crazier. But I kind of feel empathetic for the guy as an artist. Like, man, like, you have a family now, like, you have all this stuff, but you still want more? Like, there's, like, people like us who probably want just that.
Just what he has.
Like, we can't imagine more than what Kanye has. Like, who wants more than what Kanye has?
Yeah.
Like,
there was a story in that book that I was reading, right? It sort of, like, touches on this.
Yeah.
It talks about the whole values thing. It talks about this dude who was in this metal band, right?
Yeah.
I told you this a little while ago, but I think
let the viewers know.
I think it relates to what you're talking about.
It does, yeah.
So this dude in this metal band, and right before this metal band blew up, they actually kicked this dude out of the band.
Yeah.
And he was like pissed. He was so mad. He's like, "Why did you guys kick me out for no reason?"
Yeah.
And then that band blew up, and this band is actually called Metallica. Metallica's a huge metal band, right?
Yeah.
And the dude who was kicked out, his name was Dave Mustaine, and he practiced so hard. He was pissed, and his goal and value was, I'm gonna beat Metallica.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was his value, and he's like, I'm gonna beat them, and I'm not gonna be happy or satisfied until I beat this band because they kicked me out, right? And so he started his own band, Megadeth or whatever, and they're pretty popular too. And they've like he's gotten a ton of money. He's like super famous, and for like as a regular person, it's like, dang, I want what he has to just be able to make a ton of money or like to be known by people, to be famous like that. But he's like not happy. Yeah. Because he hasn't beat Metallica. He's not gonna beat Metallica. Metallica's like legendary and like historic, you know? And he's like, he's made so much, he's a success, but he's still not happy. Right. Because his value is in beating this one band, and he can't, because he hasn't done that, he's not gonna be happy. Right. So in the book it talks about that, and then it contrasts with this other band. This dude that got kicked out, same story. Yeah. Got kicked out right before this band blew up, right? Yeah. And this band actually blew up, and it's the Beatles. Yep. Everybody knows the Beatles, right? Of course. And so he was like super depressed initially. Yeah. Like super sad that he was kicked out, and he isn't in that band, and like they're getting all this fame and all this success and all this like glory or whatever. Yeah. But then in an interview they asked him, I forgot his name, but they asked him in an interview like, how are you feeling now that the Beatles are like historic, legendary, like has made such an impact? Yeah. Like, how do you feel now? And he's like, I feel pretty happy. Right. And I was like, what the heck? I was like reading the books, like damn, why is this dude like so happy? Like he missed out on this opportunity, right? Fake news. Yeah, you know. And he's like, well, it's because my values changed. When I got kicked out of the band, I found my wife, and we started a family, and my values were simply in my family now. It wasn't in trying to beat this band or trying to be better than them. It was simply in this family that I have, or the life that I live right now. And he's like super happy and like satisfied because his value was simply in just what was around him, what was actually attainable, and like what he enjoyed. Right. And so it's like the same exact story. This dude's super rich, and he's still unhappy. Yeah. You know, you think that for like any regular person with all that fame and money and all that stuff, you'd be happy, but he's not. Right. Simply because his value was in trying to beat this band, trying to beat Metallica. This dude who was kicked out of the Beatles, same thing, but his values changed. You'd think he'd be devastated because he's missing out on all this, but he's satisfied and happy because he was focused on his family and just being able to like enjoy that, you know?
Dang, that's dope. So going off that, the second thing I wanted to talk about from just what you said the past few minutes is, okay, as a DIY or independent artist, how do we balance out like actually trying to make this a living versus like what's my value? Yeah. For example, recently, like past few months, sold merch, and it's crazy because in like 1 or 2 months, the profit I made off of merch, like talking about like net profit, even after splitting with my friend that helped me make them, was, I want to say about $60-$70, right? Off of selling like 10 shirts and 10 hats. Not that many, right? But it's crazy that that's about like 3 times the amount I get from streaming royalties from like Spotify, Apple Music, of having my music there for like 4 years, yeah. And it's like, dang, there's an opportunity in making income in this. And I think I heard it from one of these producers I look up to on YouTube. His name is Curtis King. Yeah. He talks about or encourages artists and producers and motivates them to do like different things and like in going about their did it close?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, no, I think it's still going. Yeah. It goes about in different ways of, what was I saying? Curtis King, producer. Basically, like, how can you as a DIY artist or producer start making income, right? And he was talking about how not to see money always as like a disposable income, where you could just buy whatever you want to make you happy for a minute, but to see it as like a tool to invest in your business, in your music business, right, or your artist business. And off the money I made off my merch, I was able to use some of that money to like finally pay my friend who's my like photographer that takes pictures of me. And I look at all that and like I'm thinking, okay, what's the goal? I made the money. I didn't use it on like eating out, which is what I probably would have done if I didn't have anything else because I love food. But I was finally able to pay my photographer friend, which in a sense made me a little happy that I was able to help another artist by paying him, like finally paying him. But also it's like, okay, why am I getting photos in the first place? To promote the brand, to get more likes on Instagram, to get my name out there. And then what? It's kind of like going back to what we said earlier, like what's my value? Is it really fame? Is it money? And even with money, just as you said earlier with the guy from Megadeth, like him and the constant people like Kanye and all these other examples of people that made it big, got all the fame, money that we one day would want, they're still not happy. And it's like, okay, then does that mean I shouldn't like charge people anymore for merch or beats, or like should I not, like where do you think for you is your gray area or boundary of like, okay, I like doing this because it's fun and it's my passion, but it'd be nice to see income from this and hopefully make a living doing what I love to do for fun. What's your like thoughts on that?
Honestly, I'm trying to figure that out still, you know? I don't have like a definitive answer for that. Yeah. But I think it's sort of like create good work simply just to create good work, right? Just create like quality work that you believe in, that fully expresses who you are. Yeah. And gives the message that you want to say. Right. And I think... And then once you've done that, like you could go ahead and like sell it somewhere, you know, or like sell the music or sell that piece of artwork, right? Right. But if it's like from the start, it's like I'm gonna make something to make money, then it's all about the money then, right? You know, right. And it might not even be good work. I think there's like a balance because of like, as an artist, as like an illustrator, you like might want to make fan art or whatever that people might know more, and definitely those are the ones that get more likes and like
things that are relevant.
Yeah, people know about. Yeah, but I think sure you could create those here and there, but when that's like your only outlet, then it becomes like, oh, what about your own creativity as an artist? Is that your inner artist like being satisfied? Right. Right, and I feel like. I don't know, man, like, just make good work and I think people will notice it. You know? Just keep doing it. Right. Right? And keep enjoying the creation of it, that process. Right. And I think if it's good enough, like, people will latch on. I mean, you'll have to promote it or whatever. Yeah. But, like, the main focus is actually in just creating good work. Right. You know, rather than, like, creating something for money. Like, do you see, like, sort of see the difference?
It's like the purpose, the value system, going back to that. And I guess another question would be like, okay, once you create good work that like you think fully represents you, you put your heart and mind and your time into it, and say you didn't ask for it, but people are starting to catch on, when do you think is it good to ask for a compensation? Because, for example, one thing that I've been struggling in my head right now is like, okay, I'm thinking the next time I promote merch, what I really want to say to people is, hey, if you buy the merch, whether or not you like the hat or just want to support me or the shirt, I want you guys to know that this money is going to go to like maybe investing in new music equipment so I could create more. Like I want all my fans, listeners to know that I don't need new music equipment to create more. I could do it what I have, and I guess being DIY and learning since like as a freshman in high school, what was it, like 6-7 years ago already, just working with what I have was like, I've been so used to that, and it's great, but I feel like, man, if I'm able to like get a synthesizer. I could maybe add some synth sounds that
Yeah.
are very hard to replicate if I just bootleg a plugin online, right? Like there's a point where it's like I kind of want to upgrade my studio setup and my equipment, and I don't know. Do you think like if I tell people like my fans or people that just enjoy my work and support me, if I tell them that you know, I'll try to stay 100% to it, you know, like my question is like, what is your thoughts on that? Because I feel like my goal right now, or I don't think that I'm going to be able to make music right now where I can just feed myself and pay the bills.
Yeah,
like, because when I sold the merch and my first time selling beats, like I sold 2 beats so far, and the first beat I ever sold, I got $75 for it. And that was out of nowhere. I didn't ask for it. Some guy hit me up, and that felt like $1,000.
Yeah.
And what did college freshman James do when he got his first like official rap money, or just from making beats? He got himself a pair of Adidas that I don't even wear anymore.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, man, it'd be wiser probably to use that money on like, I don't know, more music equipment to like just make things better. Or do you think that's not even a good reason? Like, what do you think? Like, because I feel like I want to do that now. Like, when I put out merch, like, hey, like, just to let you guys know, if you do decide to buy one, I want to 100% use the money on upgrading my studio equipment so I can make better music for you guys. Because I feel like my equipment now is limiting my creativity. Like, I don't know. How do you see that? Or do you have any experiences in like, man, it'd be nicer if I had better equipment, or if I had like money to work with or collab with these other people that require money and make even crazier art? I don't know. What do you think?
I think like, I don't know, with the money that you make off of like whatever, like the art or the merch or whatever you sell, that's up to you to use, you know, like you use it for whatever you want. You can use it to improve your craft a little bit more. You can use it for yourself. Like, that's definitely up to you, or you could donate it or something. That's
right.
Whatever you want to do with it. I think for me, it's like, what I appreciate about you, James, is like you're actually doing it. You're actually like selling stuff, you know? Like you're making something and like you're like giving it out to people and you're like selling it. I think what's important as an artist, which I mean, for me, I struggle with a lot, is in the past with like doing freelance work as a graphic designer, or like creating an illustration and selling it. Oftentimes people ask me how much does it cost. I tell them like, it's free, don't worry about it. Right? That's always what I said. But now it's sort of like, it's shifting a lot, because me saying that it's free isn't really me being nice to them. I mean, like, to an extent, it's like, you can be nice, like pro bono, like to like help them make a logo.
Right.
What it's essentially saying is, I don't believe my work is worth anything.
Man, that's... Pause. That is too real. Right.
It's like, no, I'm not going to charge you because I don't think that drawing that I did is worth money. You know?
Yeah.
And so I think as an artist, you need to believe that your stuff is worth something, and that when you're like selling it to people, it's like you put your time, your effort, you know, whatever programs you use, to make that thing, you know, happen. But
hello. Hi.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you, sir.
This is hilarious.
Hey, props to real quick note.
This time is like the all close.
Okay. We'll be done soon. Like 10 minutes. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.
I need put the.
Oh yeah. We can move the trash.
Okay,
Oh, you're good. Oh, thank you so much.
Okay.
Oh, after. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
This is so funny. All right. So pause.
Explain
Pause on all these things. So James asked me to do this podcast, right? He's like filming it. This brother asked me to bring my own camera to film for this, bring my own laptop to project this thing, and we're in like a classroom at USC.
Hey, that's low key. Don't say which classroom.
All right, I won't say which classroom.
But tell them about the setup right now.
But
They can't
setup
see it.
It's pretty depressing. It's sad. It's very DIY, but you know, Okay, I'll segue this into what we were talking about.
Yeah, no, explain to them.
Yeah.
What is the camera on right now?
My camera is on a trash can right now, so that it's like you could record this.
That's so funny.
I hope that thing is still recording. By the way, I don't
If
even
not,
know.
this is what we're gonna do. The video cuts where it cuts. I'll include the
audio. We'll just do
definitely,
an audio podcast,
and do
whatever.
not a full audio podcast, but I'll have like the logo maybe displayed on the video.
All right,
yeah.
do your thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think even this right now, like what's
Yeah.
happening with just like how low budget this is and like how janky it is,
Yeah.
it's sort of like, I don't know, it's inspiring to me because it's like, bro, you don't care like what people are like gonna say, you know?
Yeah, the camera's pointing this way. They don't know until now.
And it's like, bro,
Yeah.
this is just an idea you had. It's like, oh, I want to make a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And you made a freaking podcast and you're just creating it. And you're not worrying about what other people are thinking. You're just like creating it for the sake of creating it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like awesome.
Right.
I think as an artist, if you know who you are as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
as a person, and believe in yourself, and stop caring about what people think, you're gonna be freaking unstoppable, man. You're just gonna keep doing that. And I want to be in that space, you know?
Yeah. Dang.
But yeah, I don't know. That lovely custodian man.
Hey, props to all the custodians for working at this time of night while us two are just fooling around on this podcast.
Yeah, for real.
But
you know,
props to the man for letting us stay. We were about to take out that trash can and not have a proper angle for this video. I don't even know if the video's still recording. But
who knows? I don't
anyways,
know. My camera clicked, and I was like, I don't know what happened to that.
But all good. I like how you segued that. That was smooth. Props, by the way.
Yeah.
But dang.
What were we talking about?
I like how you said, like, yeah, the whole DIY thing, like not caring what people think. But also, like, what you said about, like, man, like, me saying doing this for free, is it just to, like, tell people, or is it the hidden notion is that I'm insecure about my worth kind of thing, and I'm afraid to charge people because if I tell them this, it might be too much, and it doesn't match up to what their perspective of how valuable my art is, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, I get some friends telling me, like, all the time, like, James, like, know your worth and not, like don't sell yourself short.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's where it's tricky, because then it's like, okay, once I find a price, how do I set it? And how long am I gonna set it at that price? Is it gonna go up? Is it gonna go down? If it goes down, what about the people that bought it at a higher price? What will they think of me? And like all these like insecure thoughts and what are people gonna think starts going in my mind again. And yeah, I think just like knowing that there's people that will actually buy it for however much you put it out. Like, I know you've told me previously that you've done some compensated work where, I don't know, initially, did you think it was worth that much? Like, definitely when I sold that first beat for $75, I'm like, hell no, this beat's not even mixed. The drums are sometimes off beat, but somebody wanted it so bad that I didn't even know what price to charge. I was like, for some reason in my head, I'm like, I don't know, producers sell beats $50 to $100. I don't know. Let me break it even. Or go in the middle, 75. And the guy's like, deal. And I was like, shit, I should have asked for 175 or something. You know what I mean? It's like, well, that's crazy. Like, I just got paid 75 for something that I thought was 7.5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
but I mean, as an artist, that's like that. Those are things you're figuring out yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And like, don't beat yourself up if you don't like get it right the first time. It's like you're figuring it out. Like, whoa, that's awesome. You celebrate the fact that you sold something.
Right.
You know, I think for me, it's just like I'm trying to get there. I'm like trying to sell stuff. I haven't yet. You know.
Yeah.
I've been doing like more like freelance work for like my graphic design stuff, but I haven't done anything with my illustrations, which I want to do soon.
Right.
And I don't know. It's like the whole money thing and the pricing thing. It's like you're figuring it out, and it's like it's okay if you don't get it right 100% the first time. It's like a process in it. It's like there's a process in the whole like pricing for it, and there's a whole process in the creating the art for it too, you know?
Right.
I don't know. I think just think about like how much time you put in those things, or how much effort, or like the things you used to make that thing happen, and like sell it based off of that, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's like, I don't know, just try it out. Give a price for something. If it's too high, then, you know, adjust it. And if it's like, if you think that it should be adjusted, right?
Yeah.
But if you feel like this is how much it's worth, and people are like, "Nah, that's too expensive," they're just not getting how much it's worth yet. They just don't understand it yet, you know?
Wow.
So they need to get on your level to understand that this is worth a lot because this is good art in your mind.
Yep.
You know?
It's all
So-
subjective, and it's crazy how, like, another good example, Kanye West, right? His, like, Yeezy and all his St. Pablo tour stuff. I heard that they were printing that stuff on, like, Gildan brand stuff. You know what I mean?
Bruh, he
And
looks homeless with those shirts.
he's literally getting, like, shirts with holes and shirts that are, like, Gildan brand, like, stock blanks, like, the lowest budget, selling it for, like, 10 times the price, like 50 to $100, and it's crazy that people catch on to that. And this whole thing with like what really gives the art value. Obviously, as an artist yourself, you want to make sure that you believe it's valuable and that you put all your heart into it. But it's so crazy how if people back it up with money, that just like, I don't know, like patrons for like painters, right? Like I remember in my one of my writing classes in freshman year.
Yeah.
We were talking about how it's crazy how the art and the painting industry that goes in all these like galleries, right? There'll be a painting of like this blue canvas, just all blue, one straight line of white paint. $2 million. Like, what the hell? Like, I could do that, but it's crazy. And I like what you said about like if people don't believe it's like this much, that they're not probably catching on to how you value it. Yeah. And I was like, damn, okay. Because when I first started putting out the merch, I was like, okay, cop for 25, Instagram poll, yes, or for show, or like, nah, bruh. So I got a lot of nah, bruh. So I'm like, cop for 20, and then people started saying yes. And I'm thinking like, initially I was like, I feel like I'm selling myself short. Like, I know $20 might be expensive to some people. I get it. It is also expensive to me. Yeah. But think about an artist I support a lot. For example, like Wax, right? Some of his merch stuff, some of them are 20, but some are 30. And it'll just be like not too far in terms of material. Like I could tell it's worth around the same thing, but I'm down to pay that much. Yeah. Because it's like, it's not really the shirt I'm buying. You're
supporting the artist.
I'm supporting the artist, and I'm a huge fan, and I want to show everybody that I'm a huge fan. Right?
And you believe that his work is good.
And I believe that his work is good. And it's crazy because I guess I'm too like shy and like to like be like, you know, I'm gonna start selling merch for 25. Not because I want to hate on the people that bought it for 20, but hey, that extra $5, it adds up. Yeah. You guys now know if I use that for music equipment, it's only going to make the music better. Yeah. Like, so I think it all comes down to the purpose of like, hey, I'm not raising the price just to make more money for the sake of making more money and go out and splurge, right? Because that's, you don't want to feel like you're supporting this artist and the artist isn't giving back in any way. Like, not, like I legitimately like guys, these aren't even my microphones. Like I paid my friend to rent these out because that's how bad I want to do podcasts. I want you guys to have a better quality. I don't want to just record it off my phone. And I care about putting that stuff out in good quality, not to be relevant, like, oh, this latest podcast is this quality. Yeah. Nah, it's like, I love music. I love audio engineering. I know what it takes to make the sound better. It's going to need 2 mics. We can't just do it on 1 mic. Yeah. So
just pass it back and forth.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Just like, I mean, you could do it with 1 mic technically, but I'm not going to explain that. It's too geeky. But like, just little things like that. Like, hey, I believe in my head it's fair to raise it $5 more. Like, start selling merch for 25 because it's going to go to music. And man, just like knowing your worth, that's something that's very tricky, and I'm still trying to figure that out. And
same, dude.
I can't
Every
wait.
Artist.
I can't wait till you start selling your stuff, like till you have your website, because all this stuff, like you already know, I want to buy one of your prints, man. Like if you guys will see, we'll link you guys. Ivan's work, bruh. Like just your first example of doing the design on my EP, right? is highly the reason why people liked it. I'm not even gonna front.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was also mastered by my cousin's boyfriend, who is a really good engineer, and it sounds good. But people told me like, "Yo, this looks like a legit album cover."
Yeah.
Which I don't get that comment at all anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn.
Anymore, damn.
No, not that the hey, my photographer and other friend, my friend that's also a photographer and graphic designer that's doing my latest stuff. Your stuff is killer, man. But I'm not talking trash about you. I'm just saying that with Ivan's stuff, there's something about it where people. I won't say the word better. My good professor of mine, who I learned a lot from, audio engineer, doesn't like to use the word better. He likes to use the word different. Yeah. And that's what it is, you know? Ivan does different stuff from what my other friend does, and that's okay. And some people are going to like it, some people aren't. And I can't wait to, like, hang that stuff around in my room, because I see it as returning to me, too, because I feel like looking at those artwork while making a beat, you know, it's inspiring. Like, I want to, like, make my room as filled with as much art as possible. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're running pretty deep. We're at the 50-minute mark. But anything else? If not, you know, shout-outs or, like, any last words or advice for artists out there and their struggles?
I think just enjoy the process of it all. I think with social media and, like, all these famous artists that we look up to, we only see the end product, and we don't really see the process of it all. And it feels like, I know I struggle with this a lot. It's like, it feels like you need to be 100% right now.
Damn.
You know? But the reality is, like, a lot of these artists, they weren't 100% immediately. You know?
Right.
They worked for it, and they enjoyed the process of it all.
Yeah.
You know? And it's sort of like, I don't know, as a Christian, it's sort of like, in terms of faith, it's like, I don't know. We have, like, these views of, like, I'm going to be great once I reach this goal, or, like, once I've achieved this, right? Yeah. Or that's when I'm going to be valuable.
Yeah.
But, like, what about you right now? It's not perfect. You're like, you know, struggling with these different things, or, like, you know, you haven't met that. But, like, when your mind is like, I'm going to be valuable, or, like, awesome when I've reached this, when I've sold a ton of stuff, then you're not going to believe in yourself right now.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, yo, right now, even though I'm not there, I'm like, you know, not there yet, but I'm still awesome as a person right now.
Yeah.
I'm still valuable right now.
Right.
You know? And so, I don't know, just believe in yourself. I tell you guys this because I needed to say it to myself, because it's like a struggle for me too. You know?
That's the truth, yeah.
But this, like, I don't know, appreciate who you are right now. This is what you can create right now. Sure, you'll get there, like, at some point, work for it. But it takes time, and it's a whole process.
Yeah.
But appreciate what you can create now and enjoy it, I think.
Right. I like what you said about, like, the Christian standpoint. I don't want to cut this podcast short. I think that's a good thing to bring up. I want you to talk about that book you've been telling me about.
Oh, yeah.
How it's similar to the Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, like, book, but from a Christian standpoint.
Yeah. So I've been reading those two books, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, and Father Greg's book, Barking into the Choir. And it's been it's an interesting combination, reading those two. One is like a secular view of, like, you gotta, you know, like, stop caring about what people think and just, like, care about the things that are important. And then with the whole Barking at the Choir, Father Greg just talks about, like, you are loved regardless of what you do. He works with, like, ex-convicts and ex-gang members, current gang members, and, you know, he, like, loves on them because he sees them as valuable, right?
Wow.
And there was, like, a line that, like, I was, like, reading this book, and I was like, oh, man, that's good. And I just had to pause, and I was just, like, just freaking tears. And I was like, oh, all right, I'm done with this book for a little while.
What was that line?
It was, there were two instances where that happened, or actually several, but two of them that stand out related to this. One was, God's too busy loving you to ever be disappointed in you, or to ever have time to be disappointed in you. And I was just like, man, like with that, it's just like, you and yourself, it's like, you can't be, like, God doesn't see you as a disappointment, regardless of what you do. Wow. You are simply loved and in the image of God, you know?
Yeah.
And that thing wrecked me. And then
Yeah.
I moved forward to like read a couple pages later, and there was this line, sort of similar in the way he wrote it, was God's too busy loving you to have a specific plan for you. And I was like, what does that mean? Right.
Ooh, okay.
And so I was reading a little bit. He's like, as in like, God's not the parent where a kid goes to God or goes to the parent, shows them a picture of a tree, and the parents like, the plan was like in their head, this doesn't look like a tree, this needs to look more like a tree, and like is disappointed in the child, like go back and turn into the tree. God's like, you come to God with like, oh look at this thing, this tree that I drew.
Yeah.
God's simply like, oh, this is awesome, this is great.
Wow.
He doesn't like push you off and like, come back to me when that looks more like a good thing.
Damn.
And it's sort of like just appreciating it as it is, or appreciating you as you are.
Yeah.
And I think when you start believing in yourself and like believing that you are valuable, simply as an artist, and the things that you create are basically an extension of who you are, an expression of who you are. And when you start valuing that and believing in that, and when you stop really caring about what people have to say or like what people think about you, then I feel like you'd be, I mean, I said earlier, you'd be unstoppable. You'd just be able to create for the sake of creating and then just enjoying it,
Yeah.
But again, it's a battle because our society doesn't work that way.
Right.
Media doesn't work that way. So
I definitely agree. And another good friend of mine, he was telling me, again, from the Christian standpoint of like, knowing that like God himself is a creator, and that he created you in his image, and he gave you this gift and this ability as a human to create things and make beautiful things. And it's like, dang, like, I know for me, it's hard for me to spend time with God and just find time to reflect and pray. But recently, just knowing that I am loved for who I am, regardless of what people think and what I make, to just rejoice in that, in this process that I'm making this, like, wow, God is here. He's in the room.
Yeah.
He's giving me this ability, and like, wow, I'm glorifying him through that. Even though not too many people would know that through like, I don't know, through just surface level stuff. Because like, I don't brand myself, nor do I want to be a Christian rapper. Like, I'm a rapper that's Catholic Christian, and I do like including like my faith in my lyrics, and to those people that are like either Christian or non-Christian, regardless, just knowing that you are loved by this higher being, that you don't need to please anyone else, and that this is something to be joyful about, this is something to have fun with, and just having that ability is like just something to be thankful for, right? Like, I feel like as an artist, that's probably gonna be the most rewarding thing, is like seeing other people get over the fear of like, is this gonna be accepted? Is this gonna be like, are people gonna be like you said earlier, go back, nah, it doesn't look like as we planned. Or are they gonna be like, dang, respect, this is awesome. And it's dope just like having friends like you a few years back, and other people and some family members that definitely told me and pushed me and said like, wow, this is great. Not as an enabler to enable bad word, because I did get a lot of like playful hate or like constructive criticism, which obviously grew me, but just to know that, yo, James, we love what you're doing, but more important, we love you. And just knowing that is like, damn, that's unconditional, and we don't get that all the time from social media, because if they don't like it, then they don't like your thing, and we might take that personally. So getting away from that and instead just using social media as a tool to spread that encouragement, to spread that love, is like something that I definitely want to do more. And I think that's like a good note to end with.